Welcome, everyone, to a new episode of Bear Football. And this is a show that stars Coach T and Danny Shimon, two very analytical guys who can really break down what we just saw. This is typically not, one of those so-called meathead shows. I gotta tell you, I'm feeling really emotional and feeling like a big-time meathead today. My man Dick Butkus died earlier today, and we won one for him. This is like the Brian Robinson block for Walter Payton, the Green Bay Packers. I'm almost ready to burst into tears. So I'm hoping these guys can get me focused on what we just saw and explain to me what we just saw, because right now I just feel like bursting into tears and saying, "Hallelujah, Dick Butkus, we love you. Thank you for everything you did for Chicago, for the Chicago Bears." And clearly, you inspired this football team today. They went out and played their best game in a long, long, long time. God bless you, man. Coach T, your thoughts?
Definitely inspired football. Again, rest in peace to the standard, we call him, the legend, Dick Butkus. I remember being a kid, always being teased by my family because I would say his name wrong, and you know how that could go left or right. But yeah, just being around Chicago Bears football since the age of 9 or 10 years old, always hearing the name Dick Butkus and knew that meant, what I'm saying, tough, hard nosed football. Just an amazing win by our Bears tonight. We finally get off the streak. We broke this streak, and we done it. We did it in a way that I think is probably fitting, right? For the city, right? Down a bunch of DBs, a bunch of injuries. I mean, the second half we really didn't have a running back. We had Kari Blessing in there running at the running back position. And what that does to you as an offensive play caller, you're limited in your play calls, right? You got to be able to trust that the things that you call in that playbook will be executed by the people that's in there. So you're real limited of what you can do, the creativity. And I think with what he had, Luke Getz, he did a good job of just, what I'm saying, holding down the fort for the second half. I thought that ball to DJ Moore, that quick hitch route, was an excellent ball. And if Justin doesn't throw that ball with conviction, right? If he didn't throw that ball with conviction, that ball's late. He hesitates any 1 ounce on that ball. It's probably picked off a pick six the other way in terms of momentum of the game. And shout out to DJ for grabbing and taking it in for the touchdown. But I'm gonna give my guy Danny here a moment because I know he has something cooked up for us.
Well, no, I mean, although you talk about the late great Dave Butkus, it looks like his spirit kind of came into Matt Eberflus's body today because we saw more aggression out of the play calling from the defensive coordinator / head coach, which we have been calling for here. Your front four is not good enough to get to the quarterback by itself. Bring more pressure, and lo and behold, he blitzed the nickel corner, he blitzed safeties, he blitzed linebackers. They finished with 11 quarterback hits, 5 sacks, 6 tackle for losses. That's what we've been saying all along, Matt Eberflus, is go ahead and just bring pressure. I'm not saying every single down, but you got to be, in terms of smart, in terms of where you're going to bring it, how you're going to bring it, how you're going to disguise it. You're not getting it with the front four. Finally, it just took maybe 4 games, or again, the spirit of Dick Butkus came down and possessed his body, and he was aggressive. Even when they were making that run late in that was it early fourth quarter. When Washington was making that run, he was still being aggressive, which I commend him for. And I've been here knocking him and saying that he's got to be aggressive and what you got to call it when he does the proper job, and he did that tonight. He came aggressive, didn't stop, kept blitzing, and that's what you got to do. Unfortunately, until you get that defensive line fortified and you get true 4 guys that can just collapse the pocket and make the other quarterback feel very, very uncomfortable. You got to, design blitzes and pressure packages and bring it. And even today, the defensive linemen, they got to the quarterback to Sam Howell so many times, just couldn't bring him down. It's like, you talk about finishing, executing your assignments and finishing, and that's what they couldn't do. But lo and behold, they got, like I said, the 11 quarterback hits, the 5 sacks, the 6 tackles for loss. That's a huge, they gave us some points, obviously some yards, but they're not perfect, but at least they got pressure when he needed it, and we're able to hold on to that lead that Justin and DJ Moore were able to go ahead and give them early on in the game.
Danny, you have said that DJ Moore is not a number one, so fans in the chat room want you to admit it. Is DJ Moore a number one wide receiver?
Hey guys, all right, he had a great game. All right, it's one game. It's against a secondary that's one of the worst in the NFL. So let's not go out overboard. He's a talented receiver. I never doubted that. But let's see when he's going up against a real defense, against a real coverage, guys. Can he get open and then make plays and be available for Justin Fields? So great game. Had tip my hat off to him today. Today he played like a number one, but for me, it's not one game doesn't make or break a guy. I got to see it throughout the season. Again, the coverage, the secondary for Washington was horrible. The rookie first round pick got benched because that's how bad he was. So again, great game, no doubt about it. But I got to see it throughout the season. I got to see it consistently versus even tougher, lockdown corners too.
Coach T, I want to get back to the defense for a minute here. Danny was talking about the importance of blitzing and creating pressure, and it was certainly getting to Sam Howell in the fourth quarter. Those blitzes had him a bit rattled. But I also noticed this, and so I'd love for you to talk about this, that on the times we weren't sending blitzes, it seemed like the floor were at least getting pressure. It seemed like the blitzing inspired them to try a little harder, to get in there and get in Sam Howell's face. Am I right about that? When you're coaching a team, do you sense that happening?
Yeah, I'm getting a little bit of goosebumps here because it's the mentality, right? So if you're playing, same thing goes to offensive football. If you're playing the game as a player or as a play caller, you're in a huddle. You can sense, you know what I'm saying? You can sense the mentality of your coach. And hey, this is not happening. It's not just about the guys up front, right? It's about the guys playing on the back end. And they have to hold up coverage, right? Those stats, those numbers are getting thrown up against them, right? So when we get torched on the back end, they're saying, hey, you know what I'm saying? These numbers are getting charted against us, right? So you're not being aggressive as a defensive play caller. You know what I'm saying? It's bringing in a lull to the whole defense. But when you're being aggressive, I remember as a player, right? You send me on a blitz, it's the adrenaline rush, right? I'm going. You know what I'm saying? I got an A or B gap blitz. My adrenaline gets going. That gets me in the game. I might be sleepwalking, you know what I'm saying, prior to the game, but I know I'm involved in the game plan. It gets me going. And how about that? You know what I'm saying? Again, down a bunch of players, right? The momentum had shifted in the game to the Commander's side, right? Obviously, in the second half, they're driving up and down the field, but down a bunch of players. And like Danny said, we have to listen, we've been riding this man for weeks now. We have to give him his props. He could have tucked tail, had injured players, and said, you know what? I'm going to play base defense. I'm going to sit back in coverage and let them pick me apart. He said, hell no. Listen, if you're coming off the bench, you're part of this team, you're going to know the scheme, and I'm sending you. And how about a nod to, you know what I'm saying, the Brian Urlachers and Lance Briggs of the double A gap look and pressures, sending them and not sending them, confusing the protection scheme. Yeah. I mean, I'm loving it.
I've been calling for it for 4 weeks.
It's total nostalgia for Bears fans to see to two linebackers sitting in the A gap, and you're trying to decide. The offensive line has to decide who's coming, and then you drop two guys out and send the corner. That's what he needs to do. And here's the thing: regardless of whether it works or not, you give the offensive line something to think about. You give them. You don't get that offensive line. They get to sit back. You know what I'm saying? Pick their teeth, pick corn out of their teeth, and decide, oh, yeah, you know what I'm saying? That guy's the Mike's, we're going to sit back in 5-man protection and protect with normal protection. This was we have to give him his props. This is an excellent, because if he doesn't stay aggressive, we lose this game, period. Mm-hmm. We lose the game, and we're sitting here, we're having a different conversation.
Very good point. Very good point. And so, everybody was calling for Eberflus's head. Most people expected a loss and that Eberflus would be fired tomorrow. How does that affect his near future with the Bears? Clearly, he's not going to be fired this weekend. But what I want to know most of all is, do we think that he has learned his lesson and that with the personnel that he has, this is the defense he has to play, a pressing defense, a risky defense? I mean, he was calling these blitzes with, guys in that defensive backfield who, haven't been playing much in the NFL, haven't had much success. So, Coach T and then Danny, talk to me about Eberflus and what he may have learned out of this and hopefully move forward with.
I asked Danny before we got started. I was like, who were those guys? You know what I'm saying? Like we were bringing guys off the bench, equipment managers, and putting them in uniform back then in the defensive backfield to rotate in to help finish out this game. But no, I think here's the thing, and I thought about this before the game. I've been away from the sidelines, going on 7 years now, and I'm starting to take on. I had to check myself. I'm starting to take on a little bit of a fan mentality, right? But if I put myself in that locker room, you know what I'm saying? It's us against the world. It's us against the NFL. It's us against the fans. It's us against the media. We're all we have. We have to play for one another. Your brother to your left or right, regardless of our record, what our record is, we have to go out there and we have to play ball for one another, right? And we have to quiet all this noise. And I think the most impressive thing that we can take away from the night is we can quiet the noise on Coach Eberflus is firing because the guys are still playing for him. If you saw the reaction on the sidelines, you saw them actually celebrating and having fun. When the players quit on you, you'll know. And I don't think this locker room has quit on them.
And in terms of saving his job, yeah, I mean, for this week he saved his job, but this is going to be a continuing, comparison in terms of what he does moving on to the rest of the season. We'll see how this goes. Obviously, if they won last week, that could have been 2-3 now. That'll be a little bit better for him there. But let's see how he goes. They're going to have this little mini bye, if you want to call it, and then they come back against Minnesota, which a team that at home I think are beatable. Now they're going to put up some points. So will they continue being aggressive? Will they continue with this mentality? If he does, I like his chances, especially if Justin and the offense continue to progress. 2 weeks in a row now, Justin has thrown for 4 touchdowns. And then no picks, no turnovers. Today huge on the road. Big game. The one thing that did impress me again, I'll give Eberflus his credit here, was short week, tough loss last week at home. Everyone's against you. The national media is calling you guys a joke. The organization is being laughed at basically. And you come on the road on a short week and you come on, you pull out his victory. It obviously looked like, to me, Washington wasn't ready to play beginning of the game. Whatever happens at halftime, they came out a little bit more fire, a little more juice, and you saw Washington then jump in and jump on the Bears. But the Bears were able to create a turnover here, get a couple sacks. Obviously, Justin and the company go on, get some points, a field goal and a touchdown, and that stems the tide. So as long as he continues to coach this way, just put players in position to be successful, right? You saw 4 guys wasn't getting to your quarterback. We were calling for this stuff 2-3 weeks ago. You've got to continue to blitz, even if you're playing against a Patrick Mahomes or some of these better upper tier quarterbacks. Quarterbacks just do not like pressure, especially pressure in their face. And that A-gap blitz I was talking about, you were talking about there, Coach T, that's what I've been calling for a while. Talking about some nickel corner blitz. We saw Stroman coming on that nickel corner blitz, huge play for a sack there. We saw Jaquan Brisker come in for a blitz. Use your different levels of defenders and be able to come in and just, again, now take this next week, maybe add a couple more packages, a couple more designs to just get aggressive. Now you've seen it work. Yes, it was against Sam Howell, but I think, quarterbacks do not like pressure. And if you can pressure the quarterbacks, especially if you time it right, design it right, I'm not saying every single down, but just in key moments, you can turn a tide, you can stop a drive, you can create a turnover. It's stuff like that can get your defensive unit getting some confidence and rolling. And again, if the offense continues to go the way they're going now, putting some points up, now you're going to get some wins, and now people are going to come back off of you, and now you can hold on and maintain your job.
Yeah, one thing I want to add to what Danny was saying is they mentioned it during the broadcast, right? And I thought about this prior to the game. They talked about the transition of a head coach from being the CEO of a team to a technical expert, right? And you think about, what they call hard skills and soft skills, right? The soft skills required for the head coach, technical skills are the hard skills required for the coordinator, right? And I think it goes unnoticed from fans, right? That is a dynamic shift. I'm not a big fan of shared responsibility between head coaches and offensive coordinators, right? You doing dual responsibilities. It's just not a personal preference of mine because I feel like sometimes the details get missed. I would see that with Nagy a lot of times. He would skip out on motions and shifts during a particular game and just line up in formations and allow people to get a read on them, right? But if it took him some time to ramp up his ability to manage both responsibilities, I'll give a pass on here. Like Danny said, you found something. Both Eberflus and Getsy have found something. They have to build on it, right? They have to stay 1 week ahead of the opponent, and they have to start continuously adding small wrinkles to what they're doing. And I think I was peeking at the schedule as if we would have won, and I was like, hold on a second, we got some winnable games. If we can get this one and keep momentum going, we have some winnable games in our future, right? And you can begin to make some noise. So again, all positives tonight. I have nothing to say about the coaching staff. Yeah, there could have been little things done here and there. I even like the ramp up plan for Tevin Jenkins to incorporate him into. I kept tweeting him like, "Where is he?" I see Tyree Carter in the game, but obviously he was on the snap count. He was on the count, number of play counts for the night. So once he gets in there and gets reacclimated to the offensive line, and we start getting bodies back, right? Think about this team. We start getting bodies back on offense and defense. We might have an exciting next quarter of the season ahead of us.
And that's one thing we keep saying about this team. It's like they should be getting better and better. And then, until today, haven't seen anything on the field that led us to believe that they're actually going to, be able to do something that's going to get some positive signs in terms of guys developing. So again, if this trend continues on offense and on defense, Khalil Herbert, before he got hurt, he was just running the ball. Offensive line did a great job opening the holes for him. So if you keep doing that and keep getting better, I think you're going to string some good games and even some wins there.
Before we start talking offense, and I got one eye on the Chicago Bears YouTube site. As soon as the coach is at the podium, we'll break away. But one more topic on the defense. There was, a few blemishes, but the biggest one for me was just the tackling, especially in the second half, got really sloppy. And perhaps Tremaine Edmonds, he caught my eye most of all in a couple of tackle attempts. What do you say? I'll start with you, Danny. What do you say about the tackling, and do you think it's a problem, and how can we get this fixed?
Yeah, the second level guys, or I'm sorry, third level guys, or the corners and safeties were tackling better than the linebackers. So yeah, I saw Edmonds miss a couple of tackles. I saw TJ Edwards miss a couple of tackles as well. So that's the one thing. It's he was a big free agent sign, Edmonds, that was, and I don't think he's a better upgrade over Roquan Smith. So. But that's neither here or there. That's water on the bridge. We have who we have now. But yeah, I definitely think I saw a little bit more aggression from him as well in terms of making plays sideline to sideline. But yeah, there are missed tackles from him. Elijah Hicks missed a tackle as well. And there are the defensive line guys would got to Sam Howell a couple of times and just couldn't wrap him up, and he would squirt away for instead of a sack, it'd be like 7-8 yard run by Sam Howell. So those are frustrating plays there as well. So again, we keep preaching in terms of you got to execute your assignments, and then you also got to finish. And I think tonight they did a solid job in terms of executing, but they didn't finish a lot of times. They left a lot of big plays defensively out on the football field there too.
Coach.
Yeah, one of the things I was concerned about hearing about, going to the short week. Obviously, you got a short practice schedule going in a short week, but when you have a coachism, if you will. When you have all the walkthroughs, you worry about fundamentals breaking down, right? So you think about teams that have a bye week, or teams that have a week off going into a playoff scenario where they may have a bye. Those are the kind of things you would be concerned about when you're not running those live reps, you're not running in equipment and stuff like that, and you're not going through individual drills. You worry about those fundamentals breaking down, because during your practice schedule throughout the week, the indies is where you focus on those fundamentals. It's the rudimentary stuff that you normally do to make sure, hey, I'm running up to the block, I got to make sure I break down, chop my feet, and make sure I make a solid tackle, right? So, those plays were there, but they have the mini bye. Hopefully we get back to doing individuals, and they start going back to the fundamentals, breaking down and making plays. But they're adding stuff to the repertoire where they're starting to actually rip at the ball, punch at the ball, breaking on the ball again, aggressive defense, and starting to force turnovers. I just think this is going to build some kind of momentum moving forward. I hope so. Now, I'll say we got two consecutive good showings, at least halves of football from the offensive end. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm feeling pretty positive.
I want to stay on the defense. One more question, and this is specifically about Tremaine Edmonds. We know that he missed most of the preseason, and so that's a slow indoctrination in terms of him executing what he's learning in the classroom. I listened to every press conference he had. He sounds like a great leader. He sets a good example and so forth. But unfortunately, what we haven't seen on the field is his pass coverage making big plays, or is sometimes he's unable to get off of blocks. And of course, there's been the tackling issue. So Coach T, can you offer, for fans like me, the meatheads like me, can you offer any hope that Tremaine Edmonds is going to turn this around and be that middle linebacker that Ryan Poles paid, what, $50-some million to?
Yeah, the only hope I have for him is, the added reps with this defense. He'll be able to get himself in better position. I think a couple times on pass coverage tonight, I saw he was just short, right? He was just short on his depth, and his drops and balls just barely getting over his head, right? So, playing again, to me, it boils down to the fundamentals of the defense and the fundamentals of a player, right? Getting to your right level depth sets, right? And make sure you're dropping and playing smart football as an inside linebacker, right? So you're not creating these windows, these obvious windows that the ball that the quarterback has to throw to. Here's the thing for me, right? I'm starting to wonder, and I think Danny might have mentioned this earlier, right? There's the discussions we had at the beginning of the season about how injured we were, and the fact that, the organization decided not to play players. These coaches didn't get the amount of reps that they really intended to get with these players early on, right? Because this stuff should have been worked out. The calls that Coach Eberflus is making now, those things should have been worked out. I'll pause, sir.
This is DJ Moore at the podium. Let's hope we get some good audio here. Let's see what he's got to say. He's being asked a question right now.
Justin just put it in a good spot. The DB was trying to jump it. He threw it out only where I could catch it, and it was off to the races.
Talking about the final touchdown of the 3 he had.
Score. Run fast and score. Have fun with it, but score at the same time. I felt amazing, get the first win under our belts and have that momentum going into the next game. Yeah, ladies first.
You had a lot of emotion all night. You could see it every time you had the ball. There was a lot of energy going on.
Mm-hmm.
You have a lot of familiarity with this area. But what did it mean to put together a career night in prime time?
I don't know. It was just fun. Football is fun out there playing a kids game, at the end of the day. And I just looked at it that way. Tonight was just the stars aligned, and all glory to God for it. So I'm just happy for it. Mm-hmm. I did. I felt like it was. People was like, "Do you know how many yards you got?" I'm like, "Please don't tell me. Let's not jinx tonight, and let's just focus on this win." But when we got off the field, it was all everybody telling me what I did, and it was good. No, so that really pissed me off because I was about to score. I could have had 4 touchdowns, and the ref got to do his job, but at the same time, it is what it is. We got the win, so I'm not too mad on it. No. This morning, I was nervous, out of this world nervous, so I guess that was my body telling me that we was about to go off, so I look forward to having some more nervous days before games.
How have the last few games been when you get the ball so much more and getting a chance to prove what you came here to do?
The play speaks for itself. I'm not really too worried about if I get the ball a lot or anything like that, but when I get the ball, I just want to be able to make a positive play out of it. So, that's what's been happening, so I look forward to it.
You're so nervous.
I have no clue. It is. Hold on, let me
That's love, man.
5 minutes.
5 minutes. That's awesome.
Not really. I'm pretty nervous before every game, but not like tonight. I guess because it was like a primetime game, you never want to mess up on big time TV. So, I mean, that was the whole thing about it.
Were you guys made aware at all about Big Bucket's passing and motivational thing for you?
Nah, I had happened to see it on Instagram, and I had told Mooney, I was like, whoa. And like that was like, I want to say an hour before the game started. So that's when I really noticed it.
How bad
This team played like a desperate team tonight. What was the feeling leading up to this game?
It was like we just needed a win, get the mojo going in our favor, and it's time to just carry that over into the weeks coming. So that's the best thing.
You did the first catch of the game with that 58 yards. You take us through that sequence of values that got off to a good start.
We was it was a double move, and we connected. He pressed, and I won, and Justin just threw it out there, and the rest is history.
All right, last one. How would you describe the energy, like just coming off the field in this hallway, in the locker room afterward? What was that movement?
I mean, it was amazing. We had the music going. Everybody was happy, and everybody. The true message was just never lose that feeling. Like that's what in my head I was saying. In my head, now I get to say it to the media and to the team. Like, let's just not lose that feeling of what we just walked into in the locker room.
Thanks, everyone.
Good stuff. Matt Eberflus will be joining very soon. Danny, we've been saying this for you. You've been a great supporter of Justin Fields through thick and thin, and we've been saying he's got to pull that trigger, And that's what we saw out of Justin Fields today, particularly with his connection with DJ Moore. He was pulling the trigger, and that 3rd down and 2 play was just fantastic. He pulled the trigger and he let this receiver who can make the tough catches make the play. Talk to me about what you're seeing out of Justin Fields and his maturation now, finally in these last 2 games.
Yeah, whatever. I'm obviously temper some of the enthusiasm because of the defenses they play. Now, obviously, the Broncos are one of the worst defenses in football, and the Commanders are one of the worst secondaries. So, having said that, but still, they are NFL talented players, and I'm not going to take anything away from them. So, the fact today, what he was making some really terrific throws with anticipation. Throwing that throw in a corner, I believe was for DJ Moore's first touchdown, and between 2 or 3 defenders from the pocket. I mean, that's a hell of a throw.
We could do that is because
Sorry, Danny, we got Matt Eberflus at the podium.
Building, and the guys have always been tight, always been determined, and super excited about that. And let me digress for a second. My condolences to the Buckets family. My deepest sympathies to them. I had several chances to visit with Dick during the time that I've been here, and it's always great talking to him, because he's one of my idols growing up, being a linebacker, and we had some good talks about reading keys and a lot of different things. But again, my condolences to the family for sure there. In terms of the game, obviously the first half, nice job with the offense, scoring on every possession. I thought we played some really good complementary football, getting a couple 3 and outs there to start. On defense, I thought the defense played well, and really it was about the ball. I've always talked about that with the guys, and I know I said to them, I said, when we get that right, we'll be right. We were +2 today, so that was a big part of it. Obviously, DJ Moore is going to be a big story. You saw in his skill and talent level out there today. And, just an amazing player. And Justin did a really good job of feeding him today. I thought that was really, really nice. And, the offense operated good at the end. To close out games, you're going to have to make plays to finish the game. And that's the big thing we needed. And we built some momentum last week. This is a whole new group that we have. A lot of rookies. We got a lot of free agents that are coming together. And we felt the momentum building last week. And we just needed to finish better. And the guys pulled together last week and did a nice job of finishing this game. And every game's different. You have a bunch of different set of circumstances. The score, the time, the skill level you're playing against. So there's a lot of things that go into it. And I want to commend our offensive line really today because of all the lineup changes going against that defensive line. Because that was one of our keys to victory was being able to do a decent job against that line. We knew they were going to have some pressures. They had 3 sacks, but Coach Morgan, Coach Steckel did an excellent job of shuffling those guys around there. Cody came in, did an excellent job at center. JT was in at guard. Tevin was just back. So they did a really good job of sticking together and giving Justin the time he needed to throw the ball during the game. So with that, I'll open up questions.
What did you see from Justin tonight overall? What's the first half, weathering kind of a drought there in the second half of the game?
Yeah, I mean, just poise. I saw poise the entire time. You can see him being comfortable in the pocket, going through his reads, delivering the ball on time. But that takes everybody. It takes the receivers, being in the right spot. It takes the protection, and that's what I saw. And my favorite play of the day was when he scrambled and slid at the end. Because that was very smart. Me being a defensive guy, to get the clock out of there. Whittle the clock down. But excellent job, and he's really learning the position, learning the offense, and he's just growing. And now he's starting to get the fruits of his labor here the last couple of weeks, and we're just going to build on that momentum.
How big were some of the contributions from the young guys on defense like Strowman and Smith getting turnovers?
Yeah, that's big. Those guys are young. We put them in there. We have no problem putting them in there because they're talented players, and they did a nice job. We talked about everybody taking a swing at it, and they did a good job of taking it, taking the ball away. So Strowman's interception was outstanding. We were in a coverage that dictates him to follow that guy inside there like that. He did a nice job stepping in front of it. So that was really good. And then really Smitty was just will. He just rolled it to happen, and the guys stayed up and did a great job of raking the ball out, and then recovering it. So it was really, really good play.
What did it mean to walk into a winning locker room?
Yeah, that's the way you get into coaching. Been coaching 32 years. So when I started doing it, I was 22 and 9 months. I was coaching the guys that I played with. So that was a little weird, but it's fun because you get to see the smiles and the joy for their hard work. All the staff members, the coaches. It's a lot of work that you put into this. We've gone through some adversity, but we learn lessons from that adversity. Those things harden you a little bit. So it's going to be fun going forward.
What were you feeling when DJ Moore broke away for that game-sealing touchdown in the fourth quarter?
Yeah, I was right there. I saw it, and right there on the sideline. And man, he's just an amazing athlete to be able to take that ball and then just the way he catches and concentrates. The guy tried to step in front of it, and he just has great concentration. And that's every day. He's like that, So he's a true pro. He's our hardest worker, which is really, really cool to say, because he's a really good player, and he's a great example to model after.
With the understanding that the next game is a new game, what does a result like this do for your process?
It's just it's really the fruits of the labor, right? It's guys sticking together, guys working hard during practice, and now they see results from it. It gets frustrating, with the players, and I understand that. And I've talked to every one of them about that. I said I understand the frustration, but you have to stick, stay positive. Your eyes have always got to be forward. And this is going to be no different. I'm going to get in there on Monday. I'm going to say, hey, guys, there's corrections here that need to be made. How you get better as a football team is make those corrections, okay, and get better from your performance. If you win by 20 or you lost by 3, that's what it is. That's how we're going to get better as a team.
It's kind of hanging around and chipping away in the second half, and you're just a couple days removed from a game which the other team came back. I mean, you say anything to these guys, or you trust them enough that they're going to kind of respond there and dig in?
Yeah, that was the message. That was the message all week about finishing. And what you do is you finish with detail. You finish with cycle of the snap. You finish playing one play. And you can't look at the scoreboard. You just got to have an opportunity. Hey, I'm playing this one play, and if you keep it that way, execution is going to be good. And that's what they did today.
Defensive arrangement went into trying to stop Sam Howell on that O-line.
Yeah, I mean, at the second half, because of the score the way it was, that was pretty much a pass game from there. But again, the first half, obviously their line blocks really well in the run game. Their runners are strong and they get downhill, and we were definitely concerned about that going into it. The tackling aspect of those guys. So once they got into a passing game, we got a chance to rush the passer. We obviously blitzed a few times and got some pressure that way too. But that's how we handled the game.
You got a lot more pressure today, seemingly, with just rushing forward, especially that drive right before the middle of the first half.
Yeah,
got home some pressure like 3 straight times. what unlocked for the front in terms of just being able to get home before?
Yeah, I mean, just pinning their ears back, right? You know, in their approach angle, you know, their move area, you know, just doing the basics of rush. And, you know, those guys are starting to work together more. And I think the continuity's starting to gel and be there. So hopefully we can build upon that.
What was it like trying to juggle some of the running back depletion that you had going on?
Yeah, that was big. It was big for a while because we had a couple guys down, you know, so KB stepped in there and I thought he did a nice job, you know, in the 4-minute drill. Did a really nice job of moving the line and making a couple nice cuts and protecting the football. You know, he did a nice job there.
Herbert.
All right, I think we've got enough there of the coach. I want to say this. Let me take care of this audio here. I want to say this. There's a lot of comments in the chat room that I'd like to respond in one general way. We all have to keep in mind that this was a team that was completely gutted. And we have to keep in mind that this preseason did not go as planned for this team in terms of having all of the newly acquired players practicing together, playing in preseason togethers. And we have to keep in mind is that we played some pretty good teams to start the season. So this team was completely out of sync and is still not nearly completely in sync. They played well against the Broncos, who have a terrible defense, as Danny mentioned. They played well tonight and got the win. But if we look at this from a macro level, perhaps what we are seeing is the slow build of a really good football team. Coach T, I see you agreeing with me, so I'll turn it over to you, brother.
Yeah. I think I was making that point before we jumped to the first pressure, right?
Yeah.
A lot gets lost on, you know, the preseason injuries we had and the approach to it, right? We couldn't go in fully man. We couldn't execute and fully know what we has, right? Part of coaching football is know your personnel, right? But part of knowing your personnel is knowing what the players' capabilities are, how you can use them individually to help the collective, right? So those reps are missing. And Danny, shoot me if I'm wrong, right? It's a coach-ism, right? That weeks 4 to 6 usually is when NFL, when you start hitting on all cylinders and when things start sliding. So if we think about, even if you watch football overall, not just our team, weeks 1 through 4, we didn't see a whole lot of, you know, explosive performances offensively. You heard about the onesies and twosies, but if you look at the NFL standings across the board, we have a few teams sitting at the top that's around 2 teams. One team is undefeated now, I believe, or 2. We have a bunch of teams at 3-1, but the large majority, about 16 teams, are sitting at 2-2, right? So a lot of those teams are still figuring out their identity. And the part that I want to make sure I want to emphasize as well is, look, we're novice at the GM position, we're novice at the head coach position, we're novice at the offensive coordinator position, and we were novices at the defensive coordinator position, and then we have novice players. So this will go a long way in teaching these guys how to win, how to finish. And it's much easier to coach football now, because what happens is when you win, the saying is, you know what I'm saying, when you lose, the tape isn't as bad as it seemed it is. When you win, it's always much worse, right? Now you can go in and coach in those individual in the individual position rooms, and you can throw up plays on the board and say, man, if you know what I'm saying, if you were in your spot right here, Edmonds, if you were actually on your landmarker here, we make a play here and it goes back. Now you can start emphasizing the details. Now you can start coaching even harder coming off the win because ears are open. People, you know what I'm saying? Ears are open. People are excited. They're ready to take on the next thing and start building momentum. And I wanted to emphasize that. And I have another point, but I'm going to save it for later.
Okay. Go ahead, Danny. What do you think about this topic?
Well, I totally disagree with both of you guys because, first of all, this is not a new staff putting in their new scheme this year and all that. That was last year. So the guys that were on last year's team, the young guys that played a lot, should have got better. And I don't see them getting better this year, right? we can't let this victory just kind of wash away the 14-game losing streak where they lost by an average of 25 points. So for most of those games, they were not even competitive in these games. So we can't be telling me it's going to take 5 weeks for these guys to gel and get better and all that stuff because they had injuries in the preseason. The coach decided not to play these players in his third preseason game or second preseason game was against the Colts. That was because they practiced well during the week. So that's all on coaching. That's all on being prepared. In terms of Coach T, you're saying there were many explosive plays this year. Have you watched the Buffalo Bills? Have you watched the Eagles, what they've done this year? Now, the Eagles haven't been as explosive as last year, but they have a new defensive coordinator, new offensive coordinator this year, right? You talk about the Miami Dolphins. You see the explosiveness they put out there on the football field. So it's the preparation and getting these guys ready to go has not been there from the coaching staff. I'm not going to let one victory over a Washington team wipe away that 14-game losing streak and the non-competitiveness that we saw, week in and week out. So, it's a good victory. You needed this victory for morale of the team. I think Justin was on a different level today in terms of his intensity. You saw he never sat down on the bench when the defense was on the field. He was out there. He was rooting the defense on. He was looking to make sure everything was he was determined to get a victory today. So that's a leadership in this kid that I just love his intangibles. This is a guy that's a true leader at that position. And before we went to Eberflus, I was talking about his ability. He was making plays from the pocket. Today, everybody's harping on, we got to get Justin from the pocket. Got to get Justin. Well, today he was making plays from the pocket. He was going through a progression. He was making throws, precise throws with accuracy. That touchdown, the first touchdown to DJ Moore was between 3 defenders in a corner where only Moore got to it. Obviously, that third one to Cole Kmet, he went through a progression near the goal line, found Kmet on a crossing route, hit him in stride, bam, touchdown. So, I think this kid is just, starting to show whatever him and Getsy did the last couple of weeks, continue to work on that, continue to implement that type of offense. And I saw a lot of 12 personnel with 2 tight ends with Mercedes Lewis in there, Tunyon in there along with Kmet. So add some more blocking. So obviously everything starts up front with, like we've been saying all along, the offensive line today started off. The first half was really good in terms of pass blocking. I know Wright gave up a sack early on, but for the most part, that first half was pretty good run blocking and pass blocking by the offensive line. If they can get a cohesive 5 unit on that, now they got Lucas Patrick out of there, which is I think is going to be an upgrade. I think Whitehair as center is probably the best thing. Get Tevin Jenkins healthy and at left guard, and eventually you're going to get back hopefully Braxton Jones. We'll see what happens with there. And then now you can form a cohesive unit. And once that unit gels and becomes better, you'll see this offense continue to put up some more points.
I'm gonna check that. I'm gonna check that average margin of victory from last year and tweet you, Danny.
They gave up over 25 points in each game.
All right. Well, yeah, I think Danny is correct on that. But I do have to say this. And I'm not saying, I'm not saying that Danny is wrong. And I'm not saying Coach T is wrong. I think both of you guys are offering really solid points. My point is that there is many teams do get better. It's not just because we've seen this 14-game losing streak. It shouldn't erase the fact that there could be hope that this team could now build on the Minnesota game, build on a Raiders team, and maybe get this, a 4-game winning streak going on here. Coaches do get better with experience. Some do, not all of them. And players do get better with good coaching once the coaching starts utilizing better. I bet you every guy on that defense is super psyched because the floodgates were open. We're now attacking. We're now having fun out there.
Yeah.
We're now playing good. And that means a lot. That gives me hope as a fan, a fan who was thoroughly disgusted by this losing streak. Go ahead.
It took 4 weeks, although, to see that. It took 4 weeks.
Yeah.
I realize that, but it doesn't matter. It's done. Those 4 weeks are done.
Your season's over.
Yeah, no.
Not necessarily.
So that goes to my pregame speech and what I tweeted. Right. Again, I had a moment where I just put myself in the locker room. Listen, you know what I'm saying? I don't give if I'm coaching that football team, I don't give a damn of what Danny's talking about. I don't give a damn of what Aldo's talking about. I don't give a damn about the media. I don't give about the fans. Here's an opportunity to rally. Everybody's against us. Play for the guy next to you. You got umpteen more games left. So what are we going to do? We're going to lay down because, you know what I'm saying, nobody's dependent on us. You know what I'm saying? And it leads to my point that I left out that I want to say, right? We forget, right? Whether it's fans, coaches, players, or whatever, we forget about the ultimate lesson that football is supposed to teach us about. It's supposed to teach us about life. Life, you're going to have adversity. Guess what? You're going to have back-to-back L's. You're going to have seasons of your life where you can't get shit right. That's just life, right? What are we going to do individually in our own personal life? We going to lay down? You know what I'm saying? You're going to have haters. You're going to have people, you know what I'm saying? You're going to have family members that don't believe in you. You're trying to get a business off the ground. They're not going to believe in you. You're going to have close friends turn their back on you. What are you going to do? Lay down? No, you can't. That's the ultimate. That's why football is the greatest game on earth, because it's supposed to be teaching us something about life. And if I put myself in that locker room, I'm saying, you know what? You know what I'm saying? F the media, F the fans. Listen, Justin, DJ, whoever's my left and right, I'm playing for you tonight. And that's all that matters. That's all that matters. We forget about that. But again, when you have a bunch of people that never been there before, right? You never sat in the locker room. You never laced them up. Sometimes it's not fantasy points. You know what I'm saying? It's not fantasy points. It's not MGM bets, phone on your bets on DraftKings. We got real dudes out there lacing them up, putting their lives on the line like Dick Buckets does, right? And guess what? We have to put this together and say, look, you know what I'm saying? No, we're not going to lay down. That's what we're supposed to. That's what when you're watching the game with your son or your daughter, for that matter. Guess what? That's what you should be saying when you're watching your team lose, instead of saying, "Oh, you know what I'm saying? F the Bears, blah blah blah." Look, son, guess what? Look, daughter, guess what? Like, you're gonna have times in life where it just don't seem like it's right. But guess what? If you keep pounding the rock, if you keep hacking at it, guess what? Eventually, it's gonna break. That's my soapbox moment.
Well, and that soapbox was impressive enough for Bruce Ollie Walter Jordan to say, "Who is Coach T? Please reintroduce him for me." Coach T is
I had a coaching moment.
Yes, Coach T has coached a lot of high school football in his days and is also a very successful corporate senior director. Danny, do you want to respond to what Coach just said there?
I'm not sure what point Coach T was making. He lost me halfway through that speech. I don't know what you're trying to say.
Firing up the locker room, Danny.
Are you saying that this coaching staff now gives you confidence that they're going to be a good coaching staff? That guy came out on Monday and looked like an imbecile in front of the media with the whole Chase Claypool thing. All right, that's not a guy I want leading my football team. They won today. Like I said, I gave him props for going out there and being more aggressive, but we're calling for more blitzes because your damn defensive line cannot get to the quarterback. He finally blitzed in week 5. He got some production, he got a win, and all of a sudden we're supposed to forgive and forget what this staff.
No, we're not forgiving and forgetting.
So
we're not doing
that. Get better in terms of what?
I'm saying I hope they're going to get better. Okay, that's what I'm saying.
They weren't going to go winless. I mean, they're going to win a game or two.
Yeah,
3, 4, 5 games.
But for me personally, I removed myself from fan mode, and I'm putting myself in.
I'm an analyst right now. I'm an analyst right now, and an analyst. I said this guy is not a head coach in the NFL.
Yeah, I'm not. But I'm not. Yeah, I'm not focusing. I'm not focusing strictly on that. I'm like, look, man. You know what I'm saying? Even that it's my team, right? Even it's my team. I want to put myself in a headspace where. Shit, you know what I'm saying? We're coming up against resistance. Damn Eberflus. You know what I'm saying? Damn Coach Getzky. I want to put myself in a headspace where I'm always inspiring the people around me. You know what I'm saying? And if we can get a hint of that, he may wash it out. He may wash it out. But I, like Aldo started out, you know what I'm saying? I like to focus back, and it was a refocus moment for me to go back to the big picture. Of taking it away from football and going to life.
Athletes, Coach. These are professional athletes. They're not going to just go out there and just lay an egg. I mean, they're going to go out there and it's their job, and they're going to, like I said, a lot of these guys are 1-year contracts. They're going to go out there. They're going to put good tape out there, because if your tape sucks, if you've given up on this entire season after 4 games as a player, it's going to show out there. So you don't want to go out there.
Does it happen though?
So of course they're going to play for the guy next to them. But in terms of if your point is that this team that you have a feeling that this coaching staff can, rejuvenate this team and make them this staff can be a long-term solution for this, for the Bears. I don't see it. One game, a victory over Washington. Yeah, a good game. No doubt about it. I'm not taking anything away from them. Winning in the NFL is hard, especially winning on the road. So again, my hat's off to
I didn't put us in
and the staff. but I have no confidence in this staff that they're going to be the long-term solution here for the Bears and continue to build a winning program here. So for me, I'm done with this staff. And I don't think they probably win five more games, or if they win 5 games total this year. So we'll see.
Let me ask this, Danny. When you say staff, does that include everyone in the staff, or do you
see head coach? Well, the head coach. I mean,
what about Luke Getsy?
Luke Getsy, the last couple of weeks, and that's the thing is like I don't know the inside of that locker room. Who is telling Getsy the first couple of weeks to design those kind of that offense? Because obviously, with these last couple of weeks, Justin's much more. You can see he's playing comfortable. He's more relaxed. He's out there just making plays, right? And the other thing about Getsy is, and this is like a little side note here, he gets a little conservative in terms of the second half. He's got to stop being conservative. You can't just kind of milk the clock and try and sit on the lead. You got to do what got you there. And thank God they let Justin throw in that 3rd and 2. Or else that ball would have been going back to Washington. But anyway, I digress there. So, but yeah, Getsy to me, he's got something there. The first couple of weeks, I just didn't know what the hell was going on. Players didn't know what looked like their assignments. Justin was sitting there looking at receivers, not throwing a ball. Everyone looked like the receivers were getting off their releases at the line of scrimmage. It just didn't look like they were playing at full speed. Maybe for whatever reason, there was a install put in over the offseason that they wanted to do. Open up this offense, do different things to it, whatever. But now they kind of maybe tailed it back and allowed the players to kind of do less thinking out there, just more playing. And whatever it is, whatever they've done, like I said, I wish I was a fly on the wall in those meetings. But obviously, a good quarterback's playing much more better. The offensive line looks like they're getting coming into a shape there and not even fully healthy yet. So and the receivers look like they're playing at a much higher, much faster pace, much faster level. So whatever that change was. Good, but
totally different offense.
Yeah, totally different. All right, Justin Fields is at the podium. The audio is low. Let's try to listen in.
We all had after the game is a feeling that you just never wanted to end. So just proud of the way all the guys came out and played tonight, and O-line did their thing versus the dominant D-line. They showed out. Really just everybody. Running backs did their thing. Receivers, of course, did their thing too. So just proud of everybody.
There was a lot of tension in the second half when they were making their comeback. How did it feel to you to see DJ running away with the ball at the end and knowing that was going to be it?
Sign of relief for sure. I think we just had to reset. Of course, the drive where we had a false start, everybody was kind of jumping around a little bit, but it just went over to the guys and just said, calm down. We're in a great position. Defense going to go out there and do their thing. And they did. Got to stop. And, of course, when DJ made that catch and catch run, it was pretty much game over by then. So, heck of a play, great catch, great protection up front, and executed it well.
Do you think he stepped out on the other play?
I couldn't see it, but I think they should have just let it play out, and then of course review it, and then overturn it. But they usually do that. I'm surprised they didn't. But I'm gonna go with him and say that he didn't step out, even though I couldn't see it at all. But he didn't think he stepped out. But, yeah.
He had the majority of your yardage today, and he should. I mean, you're throwing to him all the time. He's there for that reason. What does that change about your game to have the best receiver that you've played with during your career?
Yeah, I mean, it makes my job easier. They left him one-on-one more times than I thought they would tonight. So, when you always have him one-on-one, he's gonna win 95% of the time. So, just thankful for him. To be honest, it makes my job way easier. So, yeah, I mean, he showed up tonight, 8 catches for 230. Like that's a crazy stat right there. So he definitely did his thing tonight for sure.
The first third down that gets him for 58. Can you just walk us through that play there?
Yeah, I mean, that was just a pure progression left to right. Got one high on that, and he was just one-on-one. Like I said again, so one-on-one. He double move at the top, got the corner off of him, and then he was just wide open. So. Yeah, I mean, great protection because, you definitely need time on that play for that, route to develop. Great protection up front. And, of course, he routed up the corner at the top. So, made my job easier. But he was wide open. So, yeah.
Just as far as throwing to DJ, have you gotten more, I don't want to say forced it to him, but have you gotten more aggressive throwing to him than you were in the first couple of games?
Not really. I think,
yes, you have.
My biggest thing to Luke is anytime we can give him the ball, he's get him the ball because one, he's a great receiver. We all know that. But, two, just with the football in his hands, he's able to make guys miss, like you saw on that. I think he had like a 10-yard stop route or whatever. Caught it, made the corner miss, broken tackle. So anytime you can get them the ball, it's always gonna be good for us for sure.
Point game in the fourth quarter, and you have that drive that you lead them down. Like, how important is that for you to be able to put a team away on the road and get that?
Yeah, I mean, it's really important. I was just, preaching to the O-line before the drive started, like, touchdown seals the deal right here. So, glad we were able to go out there and do it. Like I said, they protected their butts off all night against a great defensive line. Proud of those guys for the work they put in. Really just proud of everybody. Proud of everybody blocking the outside noise out and really just working. So, really a tribute to everyone in the building for doing that.
Blasingame had more carries tonight than he'd ever had in his career combined, something like that. What's to say that he was able to step up when you guys ran out and run back?
Yeah, I mean, he's a ball player. You can put him anywhere and he's gonna, know what to do. He's just a football player. Put him at tight end, receiver, running back, fullback, and he's gonna get the job done. So proud of him for stepping in, doing his job, and really just carrying the run game late in the game.
Back and try, and on the one play, just shake his head and go off. Is that hard to watch?
I mean, I asked him on the sideline how he felt. He said he felt good enough, but he came in, and then of course I didn't see him after that. But I'm just thinking he's getting a break. But I kind of got it after he didn't come back in. But it just shows you what kind of person he is, how much he loves this game, how much he loves his team. So just the amount of effort and try that he was even able to come back on the field and just try to play with his brothers up there. That's we see that as a team, so that makes us want to play harder for him. And I should have just made a better throw so he wouldn't have got hurt, to be honest. But proud of him regardless. So, yeah.
You tried lowering your shoulder on that one play. Can you just take us through that where you're trying to
Yeah. I pick and choose when I do that. Usually I don't do that, but saw a little corner and tried to give him a little But I probably won't see that too much anymore. I'll probably get talked to about that in film. Probably just taking care of myself and doing that stuff. But I pick and choose. I know DB probably weighed like 190, but linebacker you probably won't see me doing that. But pick and choose when I do that.
Tush push.
Two more.
New for you guys. Break it out a little bit.
I mean, not really. We've had it in for quite some time. I think the O-line did a great job executing it tonight. And anytime you can get a third and short, fourth and short, and be able to convert on those downs and get a new set of downs, that's going to be big for offense and defense. So glad we were able to execute on those third and shorts tonight.
Moving parts.
He was really good.
Yeah, it's a moving parts on the offensive line, especially at center, and you have Tevin back in there. How do you think they did and managed all the moving parts?
I mean, we were preparing for that to happen pretty much all week. Lucas was rotating Lucas and Cody were both, playing center this week during the walkthrough. So I kind of knew that could have went down that way. But, I think they handled it really well. All those guys in the room are really close. They get each other better each and every day in practice. So, just proud of the way Cody stepped in at center. And, you can really put Cody anywhere, guard or center. He's going to get the job done. So, and, of course, it's always good having Tevin back playing ball. So, but proud of those guys and the way they played tonight.
You mentioned the feeling in the locker room. How would you describe what that felt like in that?
Just felt good. Just seeing all the hard work pay off, especially getting a dub after everything that's happened this year. Everything in the media, everything on the outside. It just feels good when you can say that the hard work paid off. So again, I'm proud of everybody in the building. I love everybody on my team, players, coaches, everybody upstairs. I might not even know them, but I love y'all. So but yeah, so I mean that feeling was, like I said before, a feeling that you never wanted to end, and we just gotta keep this momentum going, and just get ready for Minnesota coming up next week. So appreciate y'all.
Oh, it is so sweet to see him happy and to see this. Check this video out.
Finally getting that elusive W that they've been waiting for. So how do you continue to build off of this, Fitz?
Go ahead. Well, I just think you saw it last week in the first half, and then you see it again for the complete game today. There's energy and excitement.
How nice is that, huh? To see that locker room having fun. No more disco balls, thank God. But that's what we want to see, and hopefully the NFL Films will have what Matt Eberflus said to the team, and if they do, we will definitely show that tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. when former Chicago Bears scouting director Greg Gabriel and I are back here. Guys, let's talk. Let's finish up the subject of confidence in this coaching staff, and I want to make sure that Danny, I don't want to speak for Coach T, but that you don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying that I have confidence in this coaching staff. I'm saying that I have hope that they have learned from their mistakes and that we can start to begin to win and learn from our mistakes, because we don't want to draft another quarterback. We don't want a whole new coaching staff in here if we can avoid it. If this coaching staff shows progress the rest of this season, then let's continue to put our chips into that, because why would we want to restart? I've got two number one first round draft picks. I want a premier pass rusher, and I want maybe a second premier pass rusher or a left tackle or something else that can build on the core of this team. I don't necessarily want to shop for a head coach if I don't have to, or an offensive coordinator. Now, you are right, Danny. My confidence level on them is still low, still very low. But I'm hoping that what we have seen over the last 2 weeks, that these guys, this entire coaching staff, from the head coach to all the position coaches, continue to get better and start to stack some wins. Does that make sense, Danny?
Yeah, I mean that's obviously you're right. You can feel that way. I don't see it your way. I don't have hope in this coaching staff in terms of the head coach, and he's a defensive minded head coach, and his defense sucks. Today they give up 388 yards to Sam Howell. Who obviously when you put pressure on his face, that guy can't do much. But he's a guy who's got athletic, got some ability to throw the ball down the football field. So he made him look bad at times. Russell Wilson burned him. Every quarterback has burned him. So this defense really is no good. Today they played well because of the fact that they relatively played well. They finally did what we were talking about, is get pressure on the quarterback by bringing extra guys. So the scheme is outdated. I don't like it. I don't like the coach, the way he handles himself in front of the media. I don't think he can get in front of a room and give the players confidence. I think they are following. Like I said, they're guys that are playing for each other, playing for themselves in terms of their contracts. I don't think this coaching staff gives them any confidence. Now, the one caveat there is Luke Getsy. I was hard on him in the first 3 weeks in terms of, I had no idea what the hell he was doing out there offensively, but whatever he's done, he's made adjustments. It's 2 years in a row now. You see Getsy make adjustments mid-season, right, or early parts of the season, and allow Justin Fields to flourish. So hopefully that continues. That's the one thing that's a positive here. If I want to see if Getsy can go and continue to get the best out of Justin Fields and company, because defensively they can't stop anybody. And so all you got to do, if you want to win games, you're gonna have to outscore teams like he did today, basically. So,
by the way, Danny, the Washington Commanders scored 31 points against the Eagles and 33 points against 35 points against the Broncos. So that's not a terrible offense.
Broncos suck, and the Eagles are going.
But hold on a second. Sam Howell is a second-year quarterback who has had arguably as much success in his first 2 years, more success than Justin Fields has. So I think you're being a little bit dismissive.
I don't see it that way.
Go ahead, Coach T.
No, I'm gonna give you here. I'm gonna give you coach speak. We're trending in the right direction. Period.
After one win, you're trending in the right direction.
It don't matter. It don't matter. If you were here,
I'm glad you guys are happy.
If you were here today and you're here tomorrow, you're trending in the right direction. Luke Getsy started out. That offense is unrecognizable to several of us that know offensive football. Unrecognizable. Now, it's to me, it's a totally different offense. And he stacked 2 games of competent football where it was just not competent football based on the basics, where he was one step ahead of the defensive coordinator for at least a half of football. I believe if he had his running back for the second half of this football, we would have saw more offensive explosion play. So if I had to be critical of him, Yeah, he needs to put together a full second half of football as an offensive play caller, right? But again, he's a novice at his job. So is Coach Eberflus, right? He's a novice at his job. A former defensive coordinator we have, they're all novices at their job. So, you know what I'm saying? Whether they're the coaching staff of the future or not, it's neither here nor there. Where we are right now is if we can continue to stack and continue to progress, right? If we can put together 3 quarters of football. This week it was two games offensively that we put together good game plans, or at least a half of football. If Eberflus can build on this for the next 4 or throughout the 6 weeks, you're gonna have to give him his props. You're gonna have to give him his props, and that's what I love about the game of football, right? It provides an opportunity to shut everybody up.
After 5 weeks of continuous improvement, then you're like, all right.
How many more games we got? How many more games we got?
We got 11 more games, so 12 more games.
Well, we'll see after 12 games.
I'm just saying, it's one game, it's one victory, and you guys are talking about
we're not.
In terms of this staff could be it and all this stuff.
No, we're not saying we're going to the Super Bowl.
You guys aren't. You didn't say Super Bowl. You guys are saying that this staff could be the staff. And
It could.
This staff is not going to be the staff.
Okay.
I'm telling you
Okay,
that right
but I'm saying everyone at Hallis Hall could get better at their jobs. I've seen coaches' staffs improve. You know what,
including the GM.
Yeah, you know what, Bill Belichick, who's the second winningest coach of all time, if not the first winningest coach. He started off with the Cleveland Browns, and he looked like an idiot over there. So it happens. It happens, and as a fan, that's what I'm hoping will happen, because I hate to go through another coaching change.
But he had a playoff a team in Cleveland. Bill Belichick, he built a playoff team in Cleveland.
My take
what Eberflus gives you confidence that he's going to get better.
My take on
they
this.
gutted the roster, Danny. You know that this roster was not capable of winning football games.
No, I'm not blaming last year for him. I'm blaming this year coming out flat and not being prepared and not being coached up. None of the young players from last year have gotten better this year. None of them have gotten better.
But I think those players from last year hit their ceiling. They weren't going to get any better. Those players from last
the rookies from last year's class. Kyle Gordon's been hurt, but Jaquan Brisker's been inconsistent. All right,
he's been hurt too.
Okay, well, he's always hurt. All right, he's always hurt. But
that's what I'm saying.
All right, so I mean, tell me a young player that's gotten better in year 2 under the staff that's been developed under.
Which players are you looking at? Kyler's not there.
Any player.
Jaquan,
any young player from last year that played last year that's better this year because of the staff.
Jaquan's been playing banged up. Kyler's not there, right? Your left tackle showed progress before he got hurt.
Actually, he took a step back from me. My left tackle.
He showed progress to me. He wasn't getting beaten, ran over, and bull rushes as much as he was last year.
He was getting killed the first 3 weeks, dude. Come on.
So who call about? So my take is a little bit different than Aldo's, right? Aldo's saying he has hope for the season. I have hope for the next game. It's trending towards the next game. So going into this game, I was a little skeptical that Luke Getsy.
Minnesota puts a burger on them in the next game. What are you guys going to say then?
We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But listen, going into this game, I had trepidation around Luke Getsy being able to string together another performance behind what he did in Denver. He at minimum repeated what he did against Denver, regardless.
And Getsy's the one coach that I give you credit. I say that he intrigues me.
But that's crazy to me because out of all the coaches, he was the worst.
No, he wasn't.
He was just Alan Williams and Luke Getsy. Luke Getsy was calling stuff that was unrecognizable to anybody. I coached high school football. You had JT O'Sullivan say, "What is he doing?" You had Jenkins saying, "What is he doing?" You had Chase McDaniel saying, "What he's doing." You had Danny Orlovsky saying, "What the hell is this?" The concepts they were calling was so
Who was that coming from? That's the one thing I said earlier. I said I want to be that fly in that wall on the offensive meetings.
So watch this though.
Who's that coming from?
So watch this. The way you can say where's that coming from? Who's in the building saying what is the same mentality I'm using to go into that locker room and say, listen, we may be on to something. I'm using the same inference to go into that locker room and say, hey, we may be trending on to something. The same way.
Yes, I can see that.
I'm using the same mentality to go into that locker room and say, listen, we might be trending in the right direction. You can go in that locker room and say, you know what? Somebody said, or go into the locker room and say, somebody came down from upstairs and said, Luke, you know what I'm saying? Change your scheme, right? It's the same. We you know, there's a portion of this that's speculation, but I'm saying Luke put together at least one half, 2 weeks in a row. If he can put together 3 quarters next week, he's trending in the right direction. If Coach Eberflus can come back next week and call a good game next week, that's at least a half of good football. Actually, I thought he called a complete game. He just had players just out. But if he can come back next week and repeat tonight's performance, we're trending in the right direction. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying they're going to make it to the end. We're going to go to the Super Bowl. They're going to be here forever. I'm saying week in, week out, we'll be able to watch competent football.
Yeah, I'm saying I don't think anybody, this guy that I know one game or even 2 weeks of competent defensive play calling, or if we want to call him, that he's not the coach here for long term.
I think that if you really were that fly in the wall, you might be able to learn some of the pressures that the head coach was going through with disruptive players like Chase Claypool, like his longtime friend Alan Williams doing something that got him fired by human resources, by the disappointment of certain other players not playing to the level that they thought they were, by the roster that Ryan Poles has given him, all of these young, inexperienced players. I'm not saying that the cover 2 defense that Eberflus has brought to the Chicago Bears is innovative or outstanding or anything like that, but you're not giving Eberflus the same benefit of the doubt that you want to give Luke Getsy. And I don't think that's fair. I think that we as fans have to push the brakes on that. And anytime that we get a performance like today, where a head coach was under so much pressure, was under the gun so badly, he could have been fired tomorrow morning, and he comes through and inspires those players to play a game like tonight, I'm going to say, I hope you can continue to do it, not only next week, but the entire season.
And I give props to him. I said, under pressure, under short week of tough loss, come out there and the team performed the way it did. He finally started blitzing. Hey, hats off to him. I give him props for this game. But you're talking about hopes for this staff. I have no hopes for the staff going forward. They might win 5 games this year. I don't know. They might win 7. But this is not the long-term coaching staff for me.
And you're probably right, but I want to give them hope.
If they double or go over their win total from last year, right?
That's 6 wins.
If they get 6 wins this year, it's no way this staff is going anywhere.
No, if they get 6 wins, they're all getting contract extensions probably.
That I will be against.
That's how the organization rolls. If you get 6 wins, you get a contract extension.
No. If they double their win total or go over twice, if they any 6 or more games.
But were you saying that week 1, Coach? No, you weren't saying that week 1. If they get 6 wins, we're good.
No. But again, I've been in that position before where the season starts out like trash, and you make a playoff run, or you know what I'm saying? I've been in that position
you guys
before.
All wanted to fire the staff last week. They won 1 game on the road, and all of a sudden you guys have hope.
Well, yeah.
No.
Why not?
No. Actually, the hope for me came from that we played competent, competitive football last week. You know what I'm saying?
Broncos team that might be the worst team in football.
It don't matter. It don't matter. You know what I'm saying? You're putting out a product on the field.
No, they still lost. You were there.
But again, that's what I'm talking about, Danny. That's what I'm talking about. Having been in this position before, I've been in positions where I had to say, listen, guys, if we piece together this quarter from this game with this quarter from this game, we can play competent. I know you guys are capable of playing competent football. we lost this game right here, but we played a good second and fourth quarter, right? We lost this game right here, but we played a good first and third quarter, right? On offense or no defense. We lost a game and we played well offensively and defensively, but we sucked on special teams. I've been in those positions together where I had to, like, all right, guys, if we can put it together, and then you start putting it together, right? And it doesn't come in, oh, we just blow a team out first. It doesn't. How do you learn how to win? What does that look like? Do you just start blowing teams out, or do you start progressively?
This doesn't know how to win. That's for sure. This coach doesn't know how to win. He's 14 games in a row, losing streak. He's got a losing culture in there.
Okay, but listen to
the
what
only
I'm saying.
reason they won today is because they came out and they changed something defensively. He changed. He became more aggressive. Something that we're talking about for the whole.
That's the part. That's the part of fandom that I hate because it's.
As an analyst, I'm telling you, you got to pressure the quarterback.
But listen to me.
And getting killed.
We talk about the cake, but we don't talk about the ingredients, right? We don't talk about the ingredients. What does learning how to win as a football team look like? It looks like, hey, we lost, we got blown out. We were a losing football team. We were getting blown out earlier. We started playing better. We started losing games by closer margins, right? Then you start winning by small margins. Then you start to be able to play consistent, successful, competent football. That's what actually going from a losing program to a winning program looks like. It doesn't look like I'm a stick the cake in the damn microwave and then all of a sudden I'm putting up 50 burgers on team. That's not what building a winning culture looks like. Not a winning football team. Now that works for Burger King, but it doesn't work for football.
You lost me, Coach. I have no idea what you're talking about. I have no idea what you're talking about.
My analogies.
I have no idea what you're talking about, dude. if you tell me this guy's building a winning culture after one win, I call cap. Right? There's no way. I'm like, stop capping me, because right now there's no way you can tell me this guy's building a winning culture after one game.
Did we play competent offensive football last week?
We did against two subpar defenses. Yes.
Okay. Did we play a competent offensive football this week? Tonight's game
against a subpar defensive secondary? Yes, we did.
No, I'm not talking about the X factors. All right. Did we put together?
Look at the graphic I just put up. Bears have scored more points tonight than any of the Commanders' previous opponents. They scored more points on this Commanders defense than the Eagles did, the Bills did, the Broncos did, and their fourth opponent. That counts for something.
It does count for something, right? It does.
Prior to the game,
actually, the offense, Justin Fields, the guy that most everybody wanted to get rid of after 3 weeks, right? Weren't you one of them, Aldo, saying that we were done with Justin Fields?
No, I didn't say that I was done. I said I was frustrated with him, and that he has to show that he can be the guy, that he was missing a lot of players. Now, he wasn't missing those guys the last 2 weeks. He's played a lot better.
And I put the blame on Luke Getsy because I knew what he was calling was BS.
Fair enough.
And I'm giving this props. I'm saying, listen, okay. You showed me 2 quarters of football on Sunday. You showed me about 2.5 quarters tonight, minus some players injured. Show me 3 quarters against the Vikings, right? Matt Eberflus. How many quarters are we going to credit him with? You showed us a half of football. Let's credit Matt Eberflus with a half of football, a good defensive football. Okay, you showed me a half this week. Now show me a half plus another quarter versus the Vikings.
All right. Again, what if the Vikings put 50 points on the Bears defense? What are you gonna say then?
If was a fifth, Danny, we all be drunk.
I'm just saying, what are you gonna say then, right? What are you gonna do? So are you gonna come back and say, "Oh, we got"?
Let's talk about what's happening and what's happened. And Danny, you make a good point. There's very little reason to have confidence in this coaching staff, or maybe no reason at all. But me as a fan, I'm going to take this victory from tonight and hope that this coaching staff can build on it. That Matt Eberflus has learned, hey, you know what? Bringing the house in on a quarterback is not a terrible thing. Maybe my coverage shell defenses is a little bit outdated. I hope that he can learn from this, and I've seen it happen before with other coaches. And as the roster continues to improve and players come back from injury, there's the possibility that this team could win more games than lose games in these final 11 games. Guys, let's go for final thoughts. Coach T, I'll start with you. You want to give a shout out? Any final thoughts on the Bears win tonight? Whatever you want, the floor is yours, brother.
No, I just appreciate the fact that, you know what I'm saying, we're able to play competent football for at least 2.5 quarters, right?
Mm-hmm.
What I'm looking for offensively for next week or versus the Vikings after the mini bite is for us to put 3 quarters together, right? What I'm looking for from Eberflus in the next game is to put, you know what I'm saying, polish up what he did this week, right? And then actually get some players in better position to make plays and build on what he did. Again, I think he coached pretty good. He coached good for 4 quarters tonight, but the players didn't execute all the way. And that may be talent, and that may be, you know, the short week of fundamentals. But I thought he put together 4 good quarters of play calls. We just got to get better at it.
Danny, the floor is now yours, my man.
Yeah, it was a like I said earlier, it was a win that the team needed, a win that the players needed. You know, and going in week in and week out, putting in the work, putting in the effort, the practice time, lifting the weights and all that stuff, and not to get a victory was really hard on these players. And you saw it on Justin Fields. You know, you saw it after those press conferences, after those losses, and you saw it today. He was a happy, upbeat guy, and he really today he was the guy. Him and DJ Moore really were the guys that kind of propelled this team to a victory. Like I said earlier, Eberflus finally decided he's going to send some blitzes, and they actually worked. It actually became something that helped his defense. Lo and behold, so it's one victory. It's a victory they needed. It staves off the fire Eberflus crowd, but not. Something that we have to continue to see if they can build on. Aldo and Coach T think they can build on this. Hopefully they're right. I think this staff is done at the end of the season, but we'll see. But it is a victory. Take it as you get it. It's hard to win in the NFL, especially on the road. So the Bears should feel good about themselves tonight and enjoy this little mini bye they have.
I got to tell you, I have had such a good time tonight because the Barroom was created for diverse opinions. People to disagree with one another, challenge one another, debate one another, and we had a really good one here tonight. Bottom line, though, is that the Bears won. I think we could all go to bed feeling a little bit better about our love for the Chicago Bears team. And regardless whether they win or lose against Minnesota, if they go ahead and lose the rest of the season, I will still look back at tonight's victory as a very special one for me personally as a fan, because it happened on the day that Dick Butkus, my childhood hero, passed away, and maybe that was the difference in the game. Maybe those players came out inspired to win one for Dick, and I am so happy that they did. Tomorrow morning, 11 a.m., it is Greg Gabriel and myself. Gabriel Talks Football, 11 a.m. Central, and then Danny and Coach T will be back next not this Sunday, the following Sunday with the after game show, and we've got tons of other Bears coverage. Guys, you guys are the absolute best. I'm so happy to have shared these this hour and 23 minutes with you. For Danny Shimon, Coach T, my name is Aldo Gandia. We'll see you soon. I think I got an ending video here somewhere.